Today, in the Form 12th Economics, chapter number 4, that is poverty, we are going to discuss some of the main reason or the causes of the poverty in India. As seeing the first point, the exploitation by the British colonial rule, we have inherited or we have the legacy of the poverty because of the more than 200 years long British colonial rule and the exploitation of Indian wealth and resources by the Britishers. They have even changed the pattern of the agriculture. They have imposed high tax on the farmers. They have taken lot of revenue, and beside this they have changed the land settlement systems also. So there were many reasons, and for this purpose the great economist Dadabhai Naoroji has also written a book, that is The Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. So he had correlated poverty with the un-British rule in India. So what were the main things we will going to discuss in this point number 1? That the exploitation of Indian economics by the British colonial rule. The policies and strategies of British colonial rule for more than 2 centuries had left India in a backward economy. Decentralization of the cottage industries, drainage of wealth and resources, cotton, especially examples cotton, jute, iron, wood, etc., and change in the pattern of agriculture production from food grain to commercial crops. Use of market for the British made goods, imposing high taxes and generating revenue for the British rule. So these were some of the main aspects, like they have given emphasis to farmers to produce cash crops or the commercial crops. So the pattern of the primary agriculture product, that is food grain, that have changed, like from food grain, rice and wheat, they have changed to the sugar cane, then tea, then cotton and jute, etc. Secondly, they have imposed very high taxes on the Indians, and one of the main strategy regarding the decentralization of our cottage industries, so the deterioration of the industries. So earlier India was used to export around more than 25% of the world trade during the pre-British time. But because of this decentralization of our cottage industries, our industrial production, whatever it is in the rural area, that has also declined. So these were the main reasons. That way there was a great exploitation of the Britishers of the Indian economy. So it was clearly the drainage of the wealth, resources and other things from India to export. Thirdly, they have used India as a market for the British made goods. So they have used raw material was going from India, and the ready-made goods, finished goods, they were coming from the British industries to India. So our Indian market was also used. So it was called the twofold loot by the Britishers. So Britishers have left India in a backward economy. So we can say we have got the Indian economy at the time of independence as a legacy or as a heritage. The second point here, after this high dependency on agriculture. See, the most of the Indian population, they reside in the rural area. Still, more than 60% of the Indian population reside in the rural area. And in the rural area, around 80 to 90% people, they are engaged with the agriculture work or related agriculture work, livestock also, and other agriculture related activities. So much of the rural population and even some part of the urban population is still dependent on the agriculture. Agriculture is the biggest source as the occupation and employment for Indian, but the productivity of agriculture sector is very low. Many reasons are there, like in the rural area there are problems of the seasonal unemployment and the disguised unemployment. So this very high dependency on the agriculture is again a important cause of poverty in India. So most part of the Indian population is still dependent on the agriculture and the livestock for occupation and employment, especially in the rural areas. The main issues of agriculture sector are seasonal unemployment, disguised unemployment, crop is based on rain, lack of resources, obsolete and traditional methods and technologies for the agriculture production, small land holdings, all these leads to low output and ultimately results in poverty. Besides this unemployment problems, there are many other issues like the land size or land holding size is very small. Secondly, we do not have the latest and updated technologies and instruments for the agriculture. Then one main reason the crops are mainly depend on the rainwater. We don't have the much irrigation facilities still today. So all this ultimately result in the low output and that taken all this and ultimately results in the poverty. So this high dependency on the agriculture is a very important issue or cause for the poverty in India.